Hey guys, Victor here again, coming at you with another retro deck profile for the September 2011 format. And today's focus is going to be on Nordics, which is surprisingly like a really competent rogue deck to the point where it's actually even able to top YCS Toronto back in 2011, which was pretty much dominated by decks like Tengu Plant and Agents. So, with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into the deck profile. Now, when it comes to the monster lineup, we're going to be starting off with 3 Guldfaxe of the Nordic Beast. This is going to be the only Nordic tuner that we're playing because the other ones are honestly really mediocre. And the only synchro monster that revolves around the Aether, or the Acer, is Thor. So there really is no other point in playing the other ones because we don't summon the Odin or Loki. But even so, this card is still really good because it's able to special summon itself if your opponent controls a synchro monster, which is honestly pretty frequent if you're playing in this Tengu Plant format, if I'm being honest. The only condition is that you must control no face-up monsters, but that's honestly fine. It's not that big of a deal. And this is surprisingly also one of your main beat sticks, just because a lot of the monsters in this deck are actually pretty weak, and 1600 boosted with some other cards that we play is sometimes difficult for a lot of decks to actually out. And then after that, we're going to be playing 3 Tanngnjostr of the Nordic Beast. This card's really cool because when your monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, and you're always going to want to special summon it in defense position because when it comes back to your turn, you switch this card from defense to attack position, and then you activate its effect to special summon 1 Nordic Beast monster from your deck. And typically, you're going to be able to special summon either Guldfaxe, which gives you access to an instant level 7 synchro at minimum, or if you're like low on resources or just need to like build up a wall, you bring out Tanngrisnir of the Nordic Beast, which is a really cool card because when this card's destroyed by battle, it gives you 2 level 3 Nordic Beast tokens, which pretty much gives you instant access to summon Thor. The reason I don't play more than 1 though is just because Agents is still one of the best decks, and if you're running into Hyperion, they're just going to blow up all your monsters before you get a chance to activate it, because this one has to specifically be destroyed by battle. So it honestly makes it kind of weak compared to the others, but still, you have to play at least the 1. And that's it for the Nordic engine, but we're still going to be playing 3 Reborn Tengu, which is honestly super strong in this deck because it gives you the option to synchro summon and get back resources continuously. It's also another beat stick that you can pair well with your Guldfaxes. And yeah, just the consistent fodder and presence that Reborn Tengu offers this deck is honestly really huge. Then after that, we're going to be playing some hand traps. We have the 2 Effect Veiler as is tradition, along with the 2 Max C. Not much to say, just staples that I like to play in every single deck. And then something that's a little bit out of the ordinary is 2 Thunder King. I really like Thunder King in this deck just because it's a lot more slow tempo based, and I feel like Thunder King offers you some kind of protection, or just the instant presence and threat that it provides you is honestly invaluable, and it helps you grind out your resources a lot more consistently. So yeah, I really enjoy Thunder King in this type of deck. And then for our final monster, we're going to be playing 1 Super Nimble Mega Hamster. For the same reason we only played the 1 Tanngrisnir, we only played the 1 Super Nimble Mega Hamster just because Hyperion is literally running everywhere, and flip effects or destroy by battle effects just are not as strong in this format. But if it does resolve, it's still really good just because of the fact that it can get you access to your Tanngnjostr or even your Tanngrisnir, and just helps snowball your effects in order to, like, you know, helpfully and hopefully beat your opponent. So with that, that's the monster lineup, and now we can move on to the spell portion of the deck. Now when it comes to the spells, I took a slower approach, so that means if we're playing 3 Pot of Dualities, I'm more than okay with just setting a monster and passing and forcing my opponent to like answer it before, you know, committing to anything. And the consistency boost that Duality offers this deck is honestly pretty huge, and I value it over something like a Tour Guide, for example, which you would see in the topping deck list for the Toronto list, but something like Tour Guide compared to Pot of Duality, I don't really see the need in it just because it doesn't really mesh well with the deck. Since you're not banishing cards, your level 3s don't really matter. You don't want to exceed with them. You typically want them to be destroyed. And yeah, it's whatever. I'd much rather go with a card like Pot of Duality to actually get cards that I want to see. And then after that, we're going to be playing the 2 MSTs with the 1 Heavy Storm. Just necessary back row removal because this deck does not enjoy playing its back row heavy decks. Then you have the 1 Dark Hole, the 1 Monster Reborn, the 1 Book of Moon, and then after that, we're going to start off with 1 Mind Control, which I think is a really underrated card in this deck just because there's so many tuners, especially Guldfaxe, which is a level 4 tuner, which is really hard to come by. and really valuable because it gives you instant access to cards like Stardust Dragon, since a lot of the monsters in this format tend to be level 4. And yeah, just being able to take something and then synchro with Guldfaxe into whatever you want is honestly pretty huge. And then for the final card, we're playing the One Pot of Avarice. This card does cycle, or this deck does cycle through monsters really quickly, especially Reborn Tengu, and being able to Avarice them all back and then just restart your engine is honestly huge. And that's it for the spells, and now we can go on to the trap portion of the deck. Now for traps, we're going to be playing 3 Horden the Phantom Beast. Typically you only see 2, but I really enjoy this card at 3 since this is like a slower based version of the deck. And it literally pairs well with every single one of your monsters that you want on the field except for Thunder King. But your Reborn Tengus, your Tanngjostr's, your Tanngrisnirs, your Guldfaxes, and even your Super Nibble Mega Hamster, for example, they can all be equipped with this and instantly become high-level or high-attack monsters that can threaten your opponent. And then, thanks to Horn of the Phantom Beast's additional effect of being able to draw 1 card, you're just going to be able to consistently go through your engine and just continue to grab key combo pieces to help beat your opponent much more easily. So yeah, I really enjoy this card in this deck. Then, we're also going to be playing 2-Dimensional Prison because it's Deep Prison, and there are some times where you don't want your monsters to be destroyed, or you just want to get rid of something really threatening, and Deep Prison does a lot more to help you with that, especially because since this deck revolves around your monsters getting destroyed by battle, there are certain opponents that will be more willing to make certain monsters to actually run over your guy and just get through your resources, and Deep Prison helps answer that really well. And then we play the 2 Solemn Warnings with the 1 Solemn Judgment, you know, just staples. And then after that, just a bunch of 1-ofs. So we play the 1-of Starlight Road. Since this is a slower based approach, there are times where Starlight Road does come up because we are setting a lot of cards and we are flooding the field with monsters constantly. So being able to fight against cards like Dark Hole or Torrential is honestly really huge. Then you play the 1-of Mirror Force, the 1-of Torrential, and lastly the 1-of Trap Dust Shoot, because Dust Shoot alone can just win games outright. And that's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards like always, and now we can finally move on to the extra deck. Now for the extra deck, we're going to be starting off with the 1 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, just because you never know when you're going to be playing against a machine deck, and you don't want to see them obviously changing out cards on your side, right? Because then that gives away that you're playing something like Chimera Tech. You'd rather just keep this a surprise and then drop the Cyber Dragon and then, you know, just laugh at their faces when they realize they overextended for no reason. Then you also play the 1 number 17 Leviathan Dragon. You don't really make this that often, but the situations do sometimes come up with your Tanngjostr's because you like used one and you like another one in your hand or whatever, so you can just summon both and then overlay after you've used their effects to summon from the deck. Then we're going to be playing 2 number 39 Utopias, just a great generic card that's a rank 4 to have in your extra deck. If you don't want to play 2 Utopia, that's fine. You can just cut 1 and play Steel Swarm Roach instead. It's really no big deal. And then we're going to be playing a lot of synchros because this is a synchro deck. So of course we'll start off with the 1 Ally of Justice Catastrophe, the 1 Brionac Dragon of the Ice Barrier, 1 Orient Dragon, 1 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, and 1 Scrap Dragon. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Pretty standard because every single extra deck is basically the same in this format. You don't really see a lot of variation for that type of thing. But one of the biggest flex spots that you can actually vary with is this. So I play Thought Ruler Arching just because I like being able to gain life points, and there are a lot of spells and traps that target like Dimensional Prison, Compulse, Book of Moon, etc. And Thought Ruler just outs that. But if you don't want to play Thought Ruler, it's fine. You can replace it with anything else, whether it's like a Red Dragon Archfiend or a Colossal Fighter, and you can even place like the weaker synchros with something like this. So you can place it with Armory Arm, which does sometimes come up when you have like an Effect Veiler and a Tanngjostr, or you can even play Magical Android, which, you know, much like this, it does give you life during the end phase for every Psychic type monster, but it's honestly up to you. I just really like Thought Ruler Arching, especially because this deck is able to turbo out level 8 synchros really easily. And then after that, you play the 2 Stardust Dragons. 1 is always mandatory in the extra deck, but I play 2, 1 for Starlight Road and 1 to make the hard way. Not much to say, just always a good card. Then you play the 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier because it's Trish. And then lastly, you play Thor Lord of the Acer, which is really strong because when this card is destroyed by your opponent's card, so that means whether it's destroyed by battle or destroyed by card effect, during the end phase, you can banish 1 Nordic Beast Tuner from your graveyard to special summon this card, and then you inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent. So this is like a really cool recursion effect that it's pretty much exclusive to this type of deck. And just being able to burn 800 and come back every time by banishing a tuner, which is just Guldfaxe in this deck, which means we have 3 more opportunities to summon this, right? And A lot of decks do have a lot of trouble outing a 3500 beat stick 4 times, so if your opponent can get rid of them, they're going to be really low on resources, and you should still be able to win the game pretty consistently. And with that, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!